Hello, I'm Darren. I'm from Movie Reviews 101, and today we're going to talk about Solo, a Star Wars story. Directed by Ron Howard and starring Alden Ehrenreich, not Harrison Ford, Woody Harrelson, Emilia Clarke, Donald Glover, and Paul Bettany. The story here follows the young Han as he sets out on one of his first adventures as a smuggler, and how he ends up in this world, meeting his friends, and basically becoming our Han Solo we know and love. Now, before I get into my ups and my downs, I want to say my background of Star Wars is I grew up with the original three. I do not like the prequels. I think The Force Awakens was far entertaining. I loved The Last Jedi. Unsubscribe if you dare. And I didn't really like Rogue One. So I'm kind of up and down with Star Wars. I'm not a diehard. I enjoy them. So, for Darren's ups, the three things I did enjoy about this movie. First up is Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian. This bloke steals every scene. I just wanted to sit and watch him. In every scene, and everything he does is hilarious. Even the odd scenes on his own, something he's doing is hilarious, and I wanted to see that more. So he is, to me, the MVP of this movie. The second thing has to be the effects. We know Star Wars are top of the line when it comes to effects, and they're never going to be doubted. This is no different, be it the mass amounts of androids in use, the different settings we enter, vibes between each encounter, and just the general spaciness of everything. All fantastic. And the final one is seeing how Han learned about every character and what they're thinking. So it's sort of learning, like Han meets Beckett, who's Woody Harrelson, Kira, who's Emilia Clarke, and even Lando, and we see how these people interact and become part of something bigger in the later films, as we know with Chewie's first meeting and Lando. So we get to understand what drives anything between those characters or keeps them together. That's very interesting to see, because we know kind of what Han Solo is. He is someone who wants to stay on the outside and just look after himself. But for Darren's downs, this was hard because I had to narrow it down to 3. Yes, this is going to be negative. Get used to it, guys. For me, the story is very genetic. It is a space heist movie which wants to put twists too often. And for me, I'd rather just be watching Firefly or Serenity, because they understand there has to be a little bit of humour in the movie. This movie doesn't use the humour very well. I'm not sure if there was meant to be jokes, but most of the ones that were meant to be jokes just missed every time. Even the robot feels a bit like a rip-off of the Rogue One, who was hilarious. There's a character called Rio who's basically a rip-off Rocket Raccoon. So there are things that don't work for me. The second one is learning how he got his name. Now, in the very beginning, he is just called Han. So this movie shows how he becomes Han Solo, and it's like, really? This is like the most iconic non-Skywalker space guy in history of Star Wars, and that's how you gave him his name? No, pants. Not happening. It was pathetic. And my final one is going to be talking about the villain, Dryden Voss. And he is sort of like a gangster who is trying to pull the strings on the heists. Yeah, it's fine. And there seems to be a lot more about him that I wanted to learn. Like, he has a lot of scars, and I'm not sure if they started throbbing when he got angry. But why? Do you want to tell us why this happened? Or is that just what caused this to happen to him in the first place? There was nothing about him. It was just generic mob boss. Like, it was pretty much Andy Garcia in Ocean's 11. He had the power. He wanted the money. and that was where I think he just didn't do it. I don't think it was Paul Bettany's fault. I want to make that clear. I think he does everything he needs to do with the role. I just wanted to see more from this character development, really. Overall, I do think this will keep Star Wars fans happy, because there are a lot of wink nods to what happens in the future. Something I find very frustrating myself. But for me, it's going to be the most forgettable Star Wars movie, because I don't think it's bad, I don't think it's good, it's just average, and we only like talking about the shit piles and the masterpieces when it comes to Star Wars. I'm only going to give this a 3 out of 5. Let me know in the comments below just how wrong I am, and until next time, I'm going to go and do what I do best: watch movies.